All right, so I kind of want to start this video off with a story. The video should be titled, "How bad do you actually want it?" Or how much do you actually want it? And the story that I want to start this video off with is the story of me buying my first car. I was 18 years old, I had just gotten a job, I was working maybe 12 hours a week, right? And I was making maybe around $300 to $400 every single paycheck. And so obviously that's not enough to, anywhere near enough to purchase a brand new car. So I was on Craigslist every single day, and I would simply I would sort it by the cheapest or lowest cars available that I could buy. And so eventually one day I landed on this Honda Civic. And if you don't know about used cars, Honda Civics, Toyota Camrys, they go quick. They go quick in the market because they're reliable, because they're cheap, and that's a lot of people's first car. So with that said, I found this car. It was a 1998 Honda Civic. Ugliest color you can think of. It was like this teal, it literally looked like a grandpa's car. It had sun fading on the roof. And so I made it my goal to want to get this car. I could not get it with the current job that I had, right? I was making $300 a day. So what I did is I looked for other jobs, and I landed on this warehouse job. The thing about this warehouse job was everybody working here was already they've already graduated high school. I was working with grown adults. So it was a warehouse job. Essentially, I would have to go in there at 5 a.m. in the morning. I would have to be there at 5 a.m. Keep in mind, I didn't have a car. And this place was a couple miles away from my house. So I would have to wake up in the morning at 4 a.m., hop on the bus, take 3 buses to this warehouse so I could work. And I calculated it. I needed about 2 weeks working here at this warehouse to be able to save, like full time, to be able to save up to get this car. And every single day during my lunch break, I would check Craigslist and I would see, is this car still available? Is it like, did it go already? Is it still on the market? And so something else I want to add to this story is I really was not supposed to be working this job. I was a kid still in high school. And so I kind of had to put on this persona, I guess, and I was telling everybody that I graduated high school already. I'm in my first year of college and this and that. But I knew I just had to make it through 2 weeks in order to save up for this car. And the first week it was fine because I believe it was like a vacation. And so there was another week where I wasn't on vacation and I was simply just missing class. I was missing class so I could go get this car, which is really bad, but I calculated it, and like all the absences that I had, I was able to miss a week and it wouldn't do me any harm. I would still graduate. So I missed that week that people had came back from break. I was still working this warehouse job. And at this warehouse job, I didn't want to spend any money at all. So what I would do to save every single penny is I would get Kraft's mac and cheese and Hawaiian rolls. And that was my lunch for the week. Keep in mind, there's like taco trucks nearby, food vendors, people are getting food from there every time. I'm thinking like that's $10, $15. I can't afford that, right? I need to get this car. And then, so I would literally eat 2 Kraft's mac and cheese and 2 Hawaiian rolls, and that would be my lunch, and that would get me through the day. In the mornings, I would have these Quaker oatmeal packets. And so you get 10 in a box, and that'll last you like a week, and those were like $2, $3. So I said, okay, like I was dedicated to this. Boom. That's my lunch every single day. Like, that's how bad you have to want success. That's how bad you have to want the thing that you're going after. A lot of people will tell you can kind of want it, but that's not the case. Like, if you really want success in anything, if you want to acquire things, then you actually have to, you have to be willing to sacrifice things. Anyways, let me finish the story. So I end up working the 2 weeks. I save up enough money. I believe it was like $2,000. Save up enough money. I go ahead and I purchased the car off of Craigslist. And there was obviously a couple things wrong with it, right? It was a car off of Craigslist. I didn't even have my license yet. Keep this in mind. I didn't have my license yet, and I got a car. And so my parents had to drive it home, and I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was excited. I was excited that I had this car, and so that when I got my license, I could start driving right away. And that was like my biggest goal, just to be able to have that freedom. Anyways, like when you're a kid, you don't realize that you don't just need the $2,000. You still need to pay registration. You have to do a whole bunch of other stuff if there's stuff wrong with the car. So it was definitely more than $2,000. I actually did like a complete paint job on it. I told you guys it was like an ugly teal color, looked like it was for a grandpa. I was like, I cannot be seen rolling around in this. So I took about a week, and I was doing research, and I learned how to spray paint. So I got like maybe 15 cans of spray paint, and I spray painted this whole car. And I was like, okay, you need the base coat, you need the clear coat, you need all of this stuff. And I literally, like, I was like, how to paint a car perfectly. I spent hours learning how to do this. I ended up painting my car by myself. It took maybe 3 to 4 days to completely do the process. And I'm just in my front yard, just not even in my front yard. I was on the street spray painting. You probably, if you go back there in my house, like there's probably still spray paint marks from when I did it back at my old house. So anyways, I ended up spray painting it this blue color because I thought blue was like the best thing ever. And yeah, and then it looked really good. Obviously, after a couple of years, like spray paint starts to peel off, and little did I realize, but I really just wanted something of my own. And I think that was like one of the first lessons that really taught me, like, how bad do you actually want it? Like, in life, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to look at the list of the things that you want, and you have to look at the list of the things that you currently have, and you have to tell yourself, like, what am I willing to sacrifice to get what I want? And in that moment, it was like, what did I have to sacrifice? I had to sacrifice my time. I had to sacrifice my freedom. But I think it correlates a lot to business and entrepreneurship and real life, because that's a lot of the times what you have to sacrifice in the beginning stages of entrepreneurship, right? If you want to live in a beautiful place, if you want to make, connections, if you want to make more money, you have to be willing to go into that period of sacrifice. And I think not enough people talk about that. So I kind of always relate, success in business to, it's like getting your first car, right? You're willing to do anything. And why are you willing to do anything? Because this first car, what does it represent? Well, it represents freedom. It represents you being able to go where you want, to do what you want, to not have to abide by other people's rules. So your parents' rules of saying that you can't go here. And so that first car, it's like, it gives you freedom. And I think that's why people get into entrepreneurship. That's why they get into business, is because they want to acquire freedom. It's just in different aspects. The car can take you places, and the same thing that money can take you places, right? A car can take you places that your legs can't take you, right? Maybe it's too far. Money can take you places that, if you didn't have enough money, or you didn't have enough resources, then you wouldn't be able to go there. So it all correlates. All in all, it's the same. And I go back to it because it's that period of sacrifice. Like, you have to be willing to sacrifice. Honestly, if I think back to it, like, in the grand scheme of things, 2 weeks really wasn't that long. It felt like an eternity when I was in it, right? And you got to keep in mind, like, I was a high schooler. The most I ever worked was 12 hours a week, and I was working, 40 hours a week. Like, the average of of what other people were doing. And keep in mind, I still had, the bus literally took like 2 hours to get to work in the morning because of how many stops it had. We had to stop at the station, like the main like station within my city. That took a long time. And I still have to take the bus back home another hour, right? So that really taught me like that I didn't want that life for myself, that I didn't want to have to abide by somebody else's schedule. Same thing like with a car, like I didn't want to have to ask my parents, or I didn't want to have to ask somebody for a ride. I wanted to be dependent on myself. And I think that's why a lot of people get into entrepreneurship and a lot of people get into business, because they don't want to have to depend on other people for survival. If I think back to it too, like why, like how it kind of relates, like in my life, I always try to see how, like little lessons that I can learn just in my regular day to day. Like if I think back to it, like I think a car is awesome too, because you don't just to get to experience, you know, that freedom, you get to have other people experience that freedom as well. So if you have family, if you have friends, if you know, have a girlfriend, like you're able to share that experience with them, to be able to have that freedom. Same thing goes with money. Really, like the biggest thing with money, it's really not the things that I can buy, right? Like it's not the, you know, camera, the vacations, it's not the place I live. It's being able to give the people that I love, and being able to share that experience with them, and create memories with my friends, and just create things that people can't take away, because all of this stuff, like material stuff, it can be gone in an instant, right? And I think that's like, that should be a big motivating factor for you as well. So ask yourself, like, how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you actually want the success? How bad do you actually want what you say you want? If I think back to any professional athlete, like Tom Brady, any professional athlete you can think of, Cristiano Ronaldo, all of the top guys, they sacrifice so much. Oftentimes it costs them things that you don't really see until later on. Tom Brady, his relationship, like when you dedicate yourself completely to something and that's your only focus and that's the only thing you want to do and you just want to become the best at it, other things start to, like, you start to not have time for other things. And so that's like, that's how bad you have to want it. Like, I spend days, like, sure, I live in a nice place, but I honestly spend the majority of my time inside of my room, at my computer, at my desk. Like, the life isn't all glamorous. Like, you still have to do the work. Everybody else is gonna show you, you know, the glamour, the nice vacations, the being able, laptop lifestyle, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, like, you have to still do the work. Like, all of this doesn't come without working, without sacrificing, without hours at the desk. Sure, you can build systems and you can, you know, build a team and you can do all these different things to save you the time, but you're always still going to have to work. So if you're chasing this passive income lifestyle and never having to work again in your life, there's always going to be something to do. And when you realize there's always going to be something to do, it kind of gives you this sense of peace, because you realize that's the best part about it. If you didn't have anything to do, then you would just be bored, right? You would be purposeless. And the most dangerous thing for a man or for anybody is to be without purpose, because with boredom is, you know, when bad things start to happen, you start to fill your time with things that you shouldn't be doing. You start to waste your time. And I think a lot of times we forget that, you know, we have such a limited time on this earth that we have to make the most of it while we're here. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit off topic, but how bad do you actually want it, right? And I think like one of the biggest factors that will help you determine that is you actually taking a step back, taking some time to realize what's your why. Why are you doing all of this? What's your end goal? or what is your next milestone? And I think people look so far into the future, like, you know, they want to make $1 million a month, they want to make $100,000 a month. What's the next milestone for you? And just go after that, and go after that with all you got. Go after that with all the effort and all the energy that you have, and understand that the sacrifice at the end of the day will be worth it. I saw this advice from this founder the other day, and he said, what I would have told myself 10 years ago as I was building this company is that it'll all be worth it. And so if you're watching this video and you're in that period of sacrifice right now, and you know things just aren't starting to pay off yet, just know your time will come. A lot of the times you have to sacrifice longer than you think you do, but that sacrifice will be worth it. So how bad do you actually want it? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to achieve your goals, to reach your dreams, and to get to that next milestone? Once you answer that question, how bad do you actually want it, is when the answer becomes really easy for you to do the work. That's it for me, Alex. That's pretty much everything I got for this video. I just wanted a kind of a raw talk video, and I wanted to keep doing more videos like this. So if you like this advice and you want more advice from me over my, you know, the couple of years that I have been in entrepreneurship and I have been in business, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.